Hello, happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, December 13th. I'm a couple minutes late. Thanks for waiting for me if you're out there. Um, I'm Nicole with Equally Creative by Nicole. And again, I'm happy that you are here enjoying some crafty time with me. If you would give me a like or a share, a little thumbs up, hearts, anything you'd like. I'm going to be sharing the Softly Said stamp set today, but I'm also going to share our Garden Walk Designer Series paper with you. So those are the two main items. I will add the Garden Walk paper number to the description at the end of my video. It is not in there, but the stamp set is. So both of these items are currently still available, and the punch I'm using this evening is available. So let's get started. It's Christmas chaos, and I have switched. I only have one card tonight that's kind of sort of Christmassy because it's in this garden pack. It's got some poinsettias on there. But at this point in time, unless you're paying for expedited shipping, our items would not necessarily make it to you for Christmas. But the coolest thing is that tomorrow you can get free shipping on any $75 order or more. So if you're not looking for Christmas gifts, get in on that free shipping special. It is definitely one of the best out there. So let me switch over. So here is the Garden Walk Designer Series paper. Again, one of my favorite reasons to use this is that it tells me exactly what colors coordinate with each item in here. So you'll see this is our fun poinsettia paper that we're going to use in one of them. It does have a back side. I don't know if my mouse shows up on your end or not. So let's see. Here is the next beautiful green. When I first saw these at the beginning of the catalog, they looked a lot like quilting cottons. That is the back side of that one. Let me scoot on over. Okay, we have this one and that one. It's just so pretty. All right. So here's the front of this one and then the back side. Again, these are 6x6 papers. And you get, oh goodness, it'd be nice if I knew exactly how many came in this, but I have already forgotten. I think there are 6 of each style paper. There are 48 pieces in this designer series pack. All right, here's the next one. These pretty blues with that pretty peacock in there. We have this one. And if you were around when Kaylee turned 16, this is actually the pack of paper that I used to create her Sweet 16 birthday card. So I just loved it so much, I actually bought a whole second pack. So, yeah. This paper is going to go and be retired at the end of this month. So if you like it, go ahead and grab it. It's on our last chance list. Sorry about that. Sometimes you got to wipe your nose, right? Okay, so this is the stamp set we're going to use. This is Softly Said. This is an online exclusive item, so I don't believe you can find this right now anywhere except on that website. I did have that in the comments for you. So let me go ahead and start with our first card. So we're going to recreate this. This is one of the super simple cards. We're just going to do some layers. Okay. If you've been around for a while, I love going from easy to hard so that hopefully there's a little something for everyone. I am using Poppy Parade for this particular piece. And if you were here last week, I said I was going to stop leaving my insides naked and maybe the envelopes as well. So we'll see. But I am decorating the inside of all of my pieces this week. So you can see I actually decorated it. So you will get a page ready to decorate on the inside of yours as well. So this is going to go landscape direction. This is a 4 1/4 by 11. It is scored at 5 1/2, and then I just turned it on its side. I am currently using Stampin' Seal, and I'm just going to go ahead and do my inside layer and get it out of the way. And again, I did add this, and you can put whichever side you like in here. And I just kind of come in just a little bit, just similar to the way the other two layers go. I have plenty of room to write a message if I would like. Okay. So on the outside, we're going to go ahead and stamp first, and then we're going to layer it up and put it together. So I did use this Fabulous Celebrate for the first one, and I used Poppy Parade. So I'm going to pull that out and ink this up just a little bit and stamp right here in the center. Now remember, if the first try doesn't look perfect, besides the fact that perfection is overrated, it's really not a big deal. Our paper does have two sides. Look at that. I could stamp on the back if I didn't like the front. So there are no paper police. You can make mistakes. It's okay. When it is not detrimental, I say push on. There are always ways to fix mistakes. So here I am in a layer. So this is a 4 by 5 1/4 layer. And then this is going to be 3 3/4 by 5. This is our beautiful DSP that is going to basically do most of the work on this card. So again, I'm just putting this right inside as centered as possible. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere this directly to the card front. Again, centering this as best I can. Okay. If you haven't checked out our clearance rack or our last chance products, now is the time to do so. Make your list, get it in there tomorrow. We have our next layer. Let me measure this really quickly for you. This one is 2 1/2 by 4. So then we will have a 2 1/4 by 3 3/4 on the inside. And what I did was I flipped this one so that you could have both sides of this paper showing at the same time. And now I am simply going to put this one on dimensionals. You could add this to this layer and then put these two up. I just decided that I was going to put this one on dimensionals right here, just to give it a little added interest. Again, not required. Let's see here. So sometimes my fingers and these dimensionals do not work, and I did not draw on them, so I do not know when I can get the backs off or not. So no colorful backs today. All right, this is, oh goodness, what is the name of this stuff? jute trim. This is our in color jute trim. I always forget the name of it. And what I did was I cut my length of trim. It's about 10-ish inches. And then I untwisted the 3 strands and just kind of pulled this apart. I wanted to show you this in real time so you could see how this goes. Now, the first one was actually the easiest one for me to get off when I designed the card. As you can see, it likes to twist right back up into its original pattern here. So it takes just a second to kind of undo that. There we go. All right, so there's piece number 1. And then I'm going to come kind of in the middle and pull this apart. Well, that was weird. I guess my phone is on making noise. All right, so now I'm just loosely pulling these 3 together as if I had 3 separate strands of twine here. And I'm going to make a simple bow. It's a straightforward bow. And pull this, and I did trim these ends just a little bit to make that. And I like to use glue dots when I have bows and whatnot that are just going to be adhered directly on. So I'm just going to stick this on here and get that glue dot off. And it's on here. Stick it right here. And then I have, of course, my favorite. I have my rhinestone basic jewels, and odd numbers are the best. So I'm going to put 3 of them on here, kind of in a triangle format. And that is card number 1. Okay. Put that aside for a moment. Now, I did not decorate my envelopes tonight simply because I don't have any extra flourishes. I kept the product simple. So we have just these beautiful large words sentiments. So I did not add extra things to my envelopes yet. Now I am, since I did buy extra paper, I'm going to go ahead and do the paper on these, and I will show you what that looks like in just a moment. Okay, so here is this card. You can see I've kind of prepped some things. This uses our Heartfelt Hexagon punch. One of the coolest things about our punches, if you don't have a lot of space, you don't have to store a big, thick punch. It actually closes and latches shut. These stand, so you could have them on a shelf. They actually stack on one another. So you could stack like 10 high, and they're pretty good. So let's go ahead and let me show you how I did this, okay? So I used this green background. It's a mossy meadow color background. And my cardstock base is Pretty Peacock. So I'm going to go ahead and do my inside white piece. We will not decorate it until after, but this will get this one out of the way. And then we will stamp our sentiment and cut that out. And then we'll have fun putting together the top of this card because it really was a lot of fun to create. So I did the thank you for this one, and it does not look like this scrap of paper is going to do it. So I came prepared with another one. This is Pretty Peacock. So we're going to stamp this to match the card base. And it's going to be very dark because I have recently inked this. So I'm going to give it just a second to fully dry. Otherwise, I will be wearing it all over my hands. It's a little extra inky. Actually going to take some cleaner. We do have this fabulous cleaner. My bottle looks a little horrendous because I've had some, I used alcohol for something, and therefore I ended up smudging the whole outside of this bottle. So just so you know, alcohol removes ink sometimes, which I think is why baby wipes work so well sometimes. All right, so might be dry enough. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just trim around this. This is going to be the sentiment on the front of the card. And I am keeping a fairly close border. And I did use the thick cardstock for this. So when you are cutting your thick cardstock, you want to make sure that you are turning that paper as much as possible and keeping it as close to the inside of your scissors as possible. Otherwise, you end up with the paper being stronger than the end of your scissors. And then it just doesn't look as pretty. All right. So there is our thank you cut out. Now it's time to play. Okay, so I went ahead and I pre-cut all of these different pieces with that Heartfelt Hexagon. I've got a couple of smaller pieces, edge pieces. Like, I did not waste any of the paper at all. I used as much of it as possible to get as much variation in the different papers that I could. So I used 3 different patterns on here, but you can literally, obviously you can double that and use 6 different patterns. The trick for me was to find where I wanted my first piece to go and glue it down. And then as I went along, once I was happy with an arrangement of sorts, I went ahead and glued it down. I found it was very difficult to have all the pieces loose. So once I decided that first location, I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, because then every other piece from here out has a place to go. Okay, so I like this, but I like this piece with green. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use a little bit of this. The trick is that Stampin' Seal does not ooze out in the end. So, all right, so I like this right about here. Okay, and straight as you can get it is helpful. And then I'm just going to build off of this, leaving a little bit of space between each hexagon. We are going to trim around the edge when we're done. Okay. So I went with the color directions. So let's see, I might have to swap some colors around, because I don't have another whole one of these, which is fine. We're going to switch gears and do a little something different there. So you can see how this can get a bit tricky. All right, so again, when you like something, stick it down. Everything else will work itself out afterwards. You could completely debilitate yourself with this chore. by being too obsessive over where the pieces go. Again, perfection is overrated, so go with what you like. Let's see, I want to keep them kind of in the same direction. So I'm starting with all of my largest pieces, and then I can fill in those other little pieces later. If you have been watching Christmas shows, I would love to know what you're watching. I feel like I have watched every Christmas show on Netflix and almost all of them on Prime. Because when you are a crafter and you are making a gazillion things for craft events or holiday events, you have to have something to keep your mind a little bit busy. And for me, that's been mindless Christmas romance movies. And I've seen so many of them now. So if you have any extras that you would like to share the names of, I would absolutely love that. Let's see. And I did cut some in half, which I may have to, I might just use some of the back sides. Let's see. Oh yeah. All right. So again, you have lots of options because every one of these pieces is double-sided and they will all coordinate. You can also cut some of these in half if you need to. So I might do that. Or just leave it so you can cut it off later. Let's see. A little stuck on here. All right, so I have one more up here. Let's see what's on the back of these. I think I'm going to balance this out with this one here and put it right like this. Okay, so this is what it looks like before I get it all trimmed up. And now I can simply take this. Obviously, I've wasted a little bit of tape there. Not a big deal. And now I'm just going along the edge of the cardstock that I've already cut. And I'm just trimming the same shape out here. I did try to do this with my trimmer, but what ends up happening when you have a little extra adhesive on there is that you get adhesive all over your trimmer. So I still have some adhesive on my trimmer. I will have to use some remover to get that off. Right now it hasn't really made a damage or a difference or anything like that. So far we're good. Okay, so this is the Calypso Coral braided twine. Let's see, braided linen trim. So we're going to add a faux bow to this, okay? So I'm adding a little bit of adhesive on the back side here to catch my braided trim. And I'm going to scoop it around the front and again to the back. And now I'll trim this off. Okay, so that is stuck on there. While it's in this phase, I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the adhesive and stick it directly to the card base. keep losing these lids, and I don't know where all the ones that I've colored are except for one. Just one colored lid, so I keep losing all the other lids. I'm going to literally have to color every single one that I own in order for that to work. Okay, so again, centering on here. So now I have a card front on a card base with a little bit of trim here. And I'm going to cut off some of this trim. And this is a little bit bulkier of a trim because it's a braided trim. So had I wrapped it around the whole thing, which I did the first time, it was just a little too bulky. It didn't want to stay on. So instead, I just created this little bow on here, and it folds nice and flat right here versus being really bulky. So I'm just going to trim away the tails. And I can slide it to either side. Let's see, I'll do this one to this side. I can add a glue dot to the underside of this if it wasn't playing nicely. I could do that. I think I'm gonna leave it on the right. So now I'm gonna use my dimensionals, and I'm gonna put a few on here. So I'm doing like 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top, and it's gonna straddle that trim. There we go. I'm just going to push this over so that it meets up. And again, we're going to add our rhinestone gems. I am using my Take a Pick tool. Again, an odd number. And I'm actually going to put 5 on this one because I have these little ones left to use up. So all right, so there we go. You can see those gems on there. So that is card number 2, using that Hexagon, Heartfelt Hexagon punch. All right, card number 3 was inspired by the catalog. Let me see if I can find that page real quick. So this is the catalog that is going to retire at the end of this month. So this was my inspiration for this card right here. They look absolutely nothing alike, except that they have some stripes, some horizontal stripes. So you can see that inspiration can come from anywhere. Get that out of the way. So here is our Thinking of You card. Again, I used 5 gems on this one because I wanted to dot my I's here, and just having a third one didn't look right. So 5 it is. Still an odd number. Okay. And I decorated. Oh, I forgot to decorate the inside. Okay, hold on. Because I did decorate the inside. I added one of those cute little half pieces in here. So let me finish this one because I will completely forget to go back and do it. Let's see. I have one of these cut in half. So let me add this one to the inside of this card. I really like the flowers. Who knew? I was such a flower person. All right, so I'm going to add this one right here. All right, just a little extra. There we go. No naked insides. All right, so now let's take a look at the layers of this card, okay? So I have our wild wheat in color for my card base. This is a 4 1/4 by 11, and it is scored at 5.5, and we are doing this one portrait style. We've got 1, 2, 3 different DSP layers and 2 additional cardstock layers. And then I used hole punches to get those decorative confetti looking dots on there. Okay. Now I was a goofball originally and I added, there's confetti all under here because I really didn't know exactly how this card was going to turn out in the end. So now that I kind of have that planned, I'm going to give you some info. Don't put your confetti until after you've put these 2 pieces on. Otherwise, you might make more confetti than you actually need. Okay, so I do have my scraps for my confetti. I've got decorations for the inside. Got all of my layers, and of course you would have all of these layers as well. Don't forget that this is an ordering special. So if you are interested in creating these cards or similar cards with these paper elements and whatever stamps you may own, feel free to click on that link and order. Or you can get this for free by placing a $35 minimum order at the link in the description and the comments, and I will send you this kit for free. When you spend $50, I'm going to send you rhinestone basic jewels. As long as they are in stock, they will be yours. So I am decorating the inside of this, and then I will move this out of the way. And we're going to go ahead and stamp on this designer series paper. Now I am using the Memento ink, which usually looks like this. I have put it on a blank ink pad, a blank stamp pad with the Memento refill in here. And I just find that this surface for stamping is something that I just like a little bit better. So, and it works a lot better with larger stamps. So that is what I did, thanks to my friend Melissa, who came up with that beautiful creative idea. And so far, we have not been disappointed at all. So, all right, very minimal stamping this week. So I'm going to give this just a second. While that is kind of curing and drying, I'm going to go ahead and add the first layer, which is going to be adhered directly to the back or our card base. I always start out giving y'all dimensions and then I stop. I kind of forget. So this is a just over 4. It's like 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And that was to give me the maximum height on here. All right. And then these are a smidge as well. So this is 1 1/4 by 5, and then I went, this is 1 3/8 by 5 1/8. So I wanted the teeniest, tiniest border ever. So you gotta just go with paper. I just feel like 1/8 is probably the smallest that I could count. I know you could do 16ths, but feel like you just kind of lose a little bit of color when you go that little. So the 1/8 is probably the smallest unit of measurement that I use when I'm working with paper and or fabric, because I mean, the older I get, the harder it is for me to see those measurements. All right, so again, flat layer right here, leaving a little bit of border around the 3 sides. And now we should be able to work with this. So I'm going to adhere this directly on. This is a 3 by 3 square on a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, I do believe. Yes. Okay. This one is going to get put up on dimensionals. All right. Pull these off. One that didn't want to come. Okay. And then I'm going to put this on here where I like it. I kind of centered that. And now I can add some confetti. And I just used a standard hole punch to get my confetti. Right about now, I was wishing I had a crocodile. There are so many times when I could use that tool. I don't know why I'd never bought one. They still sell them in the big box stores and on the Zon. So at some point in my life, I will probably break down and purchase one. Hi, Becky. I was just thinking about you. I get to see your posts on Facebook, but we don't get to do as many online things these days. I'm making confetti, if you're wondering what all the extra noise is. All right. So if I need more, I'll punch some more, but we're going to start with whatever this is. And I do use the Take a Pick tool and a tiny, tiny bit of the all-purpose glue. And when I say a tiny, tiny bit, I mean a super tiny bit. I ended up with oozing glue everywhere, even though I have the tiniest bit. I'm going to even add a little bit of confetti on here. All right, so if you can see how very, very teeny tiny those glue splotches are, that's how I'm going to do it. And this is how I like to do this. I know it looks a little odd. So I have a little bit of the putty pushed out so that I can, let's see if I can get a clear picture. There we go. So I'm going to pick up the confetti and then stick it down, and then I just use this as a very tiny fingernail, and this way I don't end up with glue all over the place. And you can just put these however you would like. They don't have to be super fancy. Doesn't have to even look like it was supposed to go there. Okay, so basically you're just gonna kind of add the confetti where you think it should be. And I'm kind of good with that, so I'm gonna put this away. Keep the pointy side out. And now I will add a couple of those rhinestones. Now, I did do both of the dotted eyes because, I mean, that's so much fun. And let's see. One here and one here. So I can finish one off. And I'm going to open a new one. Oh, thank you. You know, it's the DSP. It does all the work for me. Those artists are who put all those colors together. All right, so I added a little bit of sparkle to my confetti at the bottom. I know that probably looks a little odd. This is where you have to stop your OCD from taking over. There, I feel like it looks a little bit better there. All right, so that's card number 3. I'm gonna have all kinds of lids all over the place. All right, so let's move this one out of the way. We have one more card, and this one is a fun fold. This card will stand up and prop up like this. You can see that it's kind of 3-dimensional there. Okay. So we have our Calypso Coral in this color scheme. Like, this is like one of the best color ways that they have ever done. I just love it so much. If it were fabric, I would have bought everything they owned there too. All right, so to get this, you have a standard 4 1/4 by 11 scored at 5 1/2 and 2 3/4. Okay, so 2 3/4 and 5 1/2, and then it folds, and then we will eventually prop this up. All right, so to prop it up, we're going to go ahead and get that inside layer in there and out of our way. So add a little extra here. This goes in here, and you're centering this in the card base on the back. And then you have a little strip that is cut off. It's going to be the same size as this 4-inch wide, but it's only about 1 inch. Yeah, 1 inch thick there, 1 inch wide. I was almost going to adhere that straight down, but you want to put this one up on dimensionals because this is what is like a kickstand for your card. And I think I'm going to put the flower side in on this one. So we'll see both design looks at the end. And I'm going to put this in just a tiny little bit here. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a white border showing. And that's because I want it to stand up just a tiny bit extra. Okay, so now I'm going to decorate this part. And we're going to use 2 1/2 by 4 for the top and the bottom. And I liked this fabulous diagonal stripe. So that was what I wanted in that background. So this is going to fit centered in the top above the, oh my goodness, above this shallow score mark and below the score mark. Sorry, my brain gave out for a second there. And we'll pull up this one right here. Okay. So this is one of those super simple cards that just looks harder than it is. Because again, we just have one base, just like any other card base. We have 2 score marks instead of 1. And we put dimensionals on the inside. And we will put some dimensionals on the outside. Other than that, this card is just as easy as any other card. We go ahead and do our stamping. We're going to use You Are Loved. I actually have a special person in mind to receive this. All right, so now I have the rest of this to put together. So this is 3.5 by 4.5. And then this floral centerpiece that almost looks framed in here is 3 by 4. And this is literally just going to go centered in this white piece here. All the DSP is the garden walk paper. So I shared that I loved it so much I bought a whole second pack. So it's this whole set here. It's really gorgeous stuff. You'll have to go see. There's one Christmas in the whole thing. So, I mean, it could all be Christmas, but it really is a nice variety of colors there. Okay, so we have this piece ready to go, and we have our stamp ready to go, and this is 3.5 by 2, and I liked this at the bottom on this one, but I think I can move it around and put it like this here. So I'm going to add my dimensionals. And this is, again, a preference for this sentiment because it's wherever it looks the best with your floral pattern that you have. There we go. So I just kind of stick it wherever it seems to show me the best images. I mean, it still kind of looks really good at the bottom. But I think I'm going to move it up so I get more of those flowers. I love that bold color on here. Okay, so now the trick is to make sure when we go to do this on dimensionals that we're only putting dimensionals underneath this bottom part. So what I do when I have this situation, I flip this over and I'm going to put my 5 pretty close together right here. And then I'll make, you know, that pretty much ensures that I won't go too far down. So I have about a good 2.5 inches. So this is going to work just fine. And now I'm simply going to center this card front right on here in the very center. Push this down. And that is that card. So let's go ahead and add a couple of pieces of bling. Everybody loves bling, right? Especially right now. It's Christmas. I've been wearing bells and all kinds of fun. Oh no, mine are like candy peppermints on a necklace that lights up, and it's been a lot of fun to wear. Okay, so there's that one. I did just put 3, and I'm going to add 2 at the bottom because it's just a little extra fun surprise when you prop this card up. I do believe this would technically be considered an easel card, which might still be a fun fold, right? Okay, so I have 4 cards. I'd love to know which one is your favorite. So let's go back through. This is card number 1. Card number 2. Card number 3. and card number 4. All right, let's see. Oh, so that is it for tonight. Again, ordering specials listed in the description. Tomorrow would be a great opportunity for you to order and not pay any shipping because, shipping. So that would be a great opportunity. Please use the host code if you are ordering. Remember that the free shipping is at $75, but you will get free rhinestone basic jewels at $50 before shipping and tax. And if you just want to buy a kit, it is $20, and follow the link. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. The DSP really does make it hard to choose. I couldn't come up with just a couple of designs. Like, I want to do like 3 more classes with this paper because it's just so pretty. So the last one does kind of knock it out of the park. I like that it stands on its own. It is a little bit fun that way. So I hope you have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. And don't forget to take some time for yourself. Make sure you're drinking enough water and getting enough sleep. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.